Alright, this is it. Episode 30. Round of applause. Just me then. Alright. This is a good episode, this, guys. I've got something planned for you here, you know. And I don't usually plan, you know. I just go in and just Bismillah, you know what I mean? Bismillah Rahman Rahim. Bismillah Rahman Rahim it. Usually. But what do we usually start with from now on? Or what have we been starting with? Is it a song? It's a song. It's a song. Yeah. Okay. Episode 30. Like. Yeah. Crack it down. Yeah. This is one to defeat the enemy, this one. Yo. Crack it out. They bother because they know that you've been black or white. They can't handle you being God or a mastermind. I'll be on his right wing, carrying a sack of rhymes. Human being, map of science, Holy Quran, Zacharias. You had a plan, wicked devils on Jackal Island. I come to kill every tyrant, so just step aside. Maliki Yawmadeen, the eternal never dies. You killing innocent brothers, got the whole thing memorized. I'm a man of silence, the dragon not pious. Hope you not fan of the fire, messengers of Malachites, hearts in a paradise. Farrakhan's looking 50, he's really at 99. Stay strong like Palestine. Made the hacker cry, oh Lord, take the cracker to the show. Battle fights, trust the rats, can't smile, full rappers are divine. God has had enough of you switching on open sides. He is here. Gather up the chariots, going into battle. These bees we sting, yeah. All come together now, don't you miss that window. Read and see. If you're the God when it's on your remote, don't click the green. Smash up your TV screen, squabble up, keep the peace. Shut the crocodile's mouth, power up to human beings. Watch you laughing like so hysterical, taking you to hell on a rocket, yeah, that's your president. See me bringing camera, strap pants on elephants. Louis Farrakhan is that real Captain America. Said it only once, 10 fists of the sun. Stay very still, don't want anybody run. The Messiah did his job, now it's all said and done. Time goes crunch, con fire con. Ollie shot punched. I'm just checking if there's nothing evil left in you. I saw the old Michael going strong, he got sick of yeah. Collateral guts, the dragon eat pus, don't jag it, it's bloods. The rest is had enough, them too much to potent energy, too much to source freedom. I know they listen, yeah, it's what's up, supernatural posture. So it's such a blessing when they so try to give it you more than once. He is it. Yeah. These bees we sting, yeah. All come together now, don't you miss that window. Read and see. If you're the God, then what's on your remote? Don't click the green, smash up your TV screen, squabble up and keep the peace. Shut the crocodile's mouth, power up to human beings. Praise to Allah. He came in the person of Master Fard. He raised up Elijah Muhammad and taught the minister, the Honourable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Peace. Praises be to Allah. So that's a little bit of an introduction to the episode, but we got something good, you know. Right now, we've got an interesting subject on the go. Alright, we got something pretty cool. First and foremost, we're going to start in prayer, because we're definitely going to need some power today. And we get our prayer and our confidence from prayer. So, in the name of Allah, the entirely beneficent, the entirely merciful. All praise is due to Allah, the Lord of all the worlds. Sovereign of the day of recompense, it is you, Allah, whom we serve, and it is you, Allah, whom we ask for help. Guide us on the straight path, the path of those upon whom thou hast bestowed favour, not of those who have evoked your anger, nor those who are astray. Praises be to Allah. I want to thank the entire nation of Islam for being, as it is, our teaching source during such a dark hour. And I would like to thank my mother, who raised me and made sacrifices that I am learning of and yet will never comprehend the depth of. So, this is a special episode because it's a multiple of 10, and that's what I said we was going to do. Every multiple of 10 will be like a special episode. So this is episode 30, The Labourers of Yakub. We have got quite a hefty document here, so I do want to get on with it, because not only are we going to watch a bit of telly, we're going to watch a bit of these episodes here from Brother Ben, but we are going to try and get through these writings as well, and they're quite lengthy, and you know what I'm like, if I get talking, I usually don't stop, do I? And there's approximately, gosh, oh God, Lord help me. So this is let me try and give it a bit of a briefing. I was listening to last Sunday's address given, I believe, by Brother Daniel. I just know him as Jiu-Jitsu Daniel because he just knows Jiu-Jitsu. It's like Jiu-Jitsu Daniel. What was he saying? He was saying that the 66, 6, and the Bible, and the man of sin be revealed, and his number is 666, right? Well, the first 6 represents the 6,000 years. This is what the Honourable Elijah Muhammad revealed. The first 6 in the number 666 represents the 6,000 years that the devil was given to rule and to make hell and make mischief on the earth. I believe the second 6 is how long it took them to be grafted, or how long this man, it would take him to actually get there, in terms of producing a new man on our planet, or an unalike man on our planet, or an unoriginal man. You know, 2 white people cannot produce a black person, right? That's just genetics, that's just facts, okay? But there is a way that 2 black people can produce a white person, okay? So you have within the black man, you have a brown germ and you have a black germ. The black germ is the dominant and the brown germ is the recessive. So just like eye colour on the earth, brown is the dominant and blue is the recessive. There is a dominating force in nature, you know. So there was a man named Yakub, who basically found this science. Really, the Lord God revealed it to him, and he had an idea that he was going to make a new man. So as you read in the Bible, it says, let us make man. Now the us, I'm coming to the last 6 because I believe that's how many it took, or how many this individual called Yakub used to make this people. It was 59,000 including him, which made it 60,000 people. So the first 6 in 666 represents the 6,000 years that was given to the devil to rule. The second 6 is, what was it again? The 600 years that it took to graft the new man from the original man. See? So it took 600 years to get through from the brown germ, because remember, he was pulling on the recessive, not the dominant, the recessive gene, and he was trying to pull on that and kill off the darker and keep a hold of the light. This is what we're going to watch anyway. We're going to watch this a little bit in a bit of a detail. It's a little bit, it's obviously AI generated. This is Brother Ben, by the way. So, you know, we got our brother giving us something here. So, big shout out to Brother Ben. He's in the podcast. So the second 6 is the 600 years that it took to graft white from black. So at the end of that, you got a very pale people with blue eyes. See, from the end of that process of grafting from the original. Same way you can graft white sugar from brown sugar. Essentially, what you're doing is you're weakening it. You're taking away the original, the dominant and strong points about it. In other words, you're weakening it, okay? So, and then the last 6 is the 60,000 of them that left. So I hope that's a little bit of a breakdown before we go into these videos. Hopefully I'll try to explain little bits as we go if something comes. But for the most part, I think I do want to just get to my writings, because in one episode it might be a little bit long. In fact, we're probably going to be here for a while, so buckle up your seatbelts and let's just go on with this episode anyways. This is episode 1. Our brother Ben has called this episode The Proposal. Yakub's Grafted Devils, episode 1, The Proposal. And it's an AI film. So, watching a bit of telly, eh? Sorry if it's a bit loud. So he's a scientist, by the way. Yakub, I think in the Bible his name's Jacob. But he was a scientist, he wasn't an evil man. He was a scientist. Here's the brother Ben.
Breaking news, Yakub's grafted devils are on the loose and it's not looking good.
In the root of the original people, among the righteous, there arose one unlike the rest, a child with a head so large, the wise whispered of prophecy. His name was Yakub, and though he was born of us, his mind will lead the world into 6,000 years of chaos. In the mountains of the east, beyond the reach of common man, a chamber was carved for only the wisest among our people. Here decisions were made that shaped nations and destinies.
What brings you here, son? I believe he has an idea he would like to present to the gods. Go ahead with your proposal.
Inside every man, there are 2 forces, a strong one and a weak one. If the weak could be made stronger, it could create a new kind of man.
You are too young to speak of such dangerous things. Yakub, this knowledge is forbidden. Separation of the germs is the way of rebellion.
One must rule, and the other must follow.
What will this do, besides cause mischief and the shedding of blood, son?
You do not see what I see.
Your answer is no. Proposal denied.
One day you'll understand.
Yakub, respect. Get out.
Okay, now just let me pause that there, because I'm going to read this chapter of the Holy Quran. It says, "And when thy Lord said to the angels, I am going to place a ruler in the earth, they said, Wilt thou place in it such as make mischief in it and shed blood?" So here you've got the Lord saying, I'm going to create something. I'm going to create something. And the angels are going, hold on, but my Lord, what will you create except that which will cause mischief and cause the shedding of blood? Like the angels were saying. And it says as well, and we celebrate thy praise and extol thy holiness. He said, Allah said, surely I know what you know not. And he taught Adam all the names, then presented them to the angels. He said, tell me the names of those, if you are right. They said, glory be to thee. We have no knowledge but that which thou hast taught us. Surely thou art the knowing, the wise. He said, Adam, O Adam, inform them of their names. So when he informed them of their names, he said, did I not say to you that I know what is unseen in the heavens and the earth? And I know what you manifest and what you hide. And when we said to the angels, be submissive to Adam, they submitted, but Iblis did not. He refused and was proud, and he was one of the disbelievers. And we said, O Adam, dwell thou and thy wife in the garden, and eat from it plenteous food wherever you wish, and approach not this tree, lest you be of the unjust. But the devil made them slip from it, and it caused them to depart from the state in which they were. And we said, Go forth, some of you are enemies of others, and there is for you in the earth an abode and provision for a time. Then Adam revealed words from his Lord, and he turned to him mercifully. Surely he is oft returning to mercy, the merciful. We said, Go forth from this state all. Surely there will come to you guidance from me. Then whoever follows my guidance, no fear shall come upon them, nor shall they grieve. And as to those who disbelieve and reject our messages, they are the companions of the fire. In it they will abide. Praise be to Allah. So here you have, especially at the beginning there, you have God bringing into existence a ruler, okay? This is what this is touching on here. You know, God is going to bring a new man. You see how he said one is going to be stronger, one is going to be weaker. If we can make the weaker to dominate over the stronger, then we will have a new people. See? And these elders are saying to him, in the Bible, they're called the 24 elders, you know, and they were saying, you know, he's just a child, like, you know, you shouldn't be trying to mess with this stuff. He's too young for this in essence, you know, he said here. But look at the child saying, in essence, the child saying, well, I know what you know not. I always find that interesting, me. Like, it's the child, like, saying to all these older folks, like, I know what you know not. Do you know? So that's just an interesting thought to have. Okay, let's go.
The convergence of the sacred helix and the elemental binding agents. It must be the key.
You will abandon this thought.
No. I will perfect it.
Yakub did not want to take no as an answer. He had a
See, did you see that?
want to take.
We only got it for a quick split second.
Yakub.
Look, from black, this is when you're grafting it, okay? From black, you get brown. From brown, you get red. From red, you get yellow. From yellow, you get white. So this is the weakest of all of the stages of how you can graft human beings from the original into being a new people, or to being a people unalike. See? And it would take, as we said, 600 years. 200 to there, 200 to there, 200 to there, 200 to there, 2, 4, 6. Wait, is that right? Yeah, well, 200 years in total. I think the Honourable Elijah Muhammad said it was 200 each time. Pretty sure he said something like that. Maybe I'm just mishearing it, but it took 600 years in total to get from this to this. Okay, let's go.
Did not want to take no as an answer. He had a determined idea. And even though the gods said that the proposal was denied, he was going to go by any means necessary.
Your answer is no. Proposal denied.
Alright, that's episode 1. We are going to go through to episode 2. I want to get through these, to be fair. I want to get out, because I've not seen them, you know. So I'm also watching them with you.
Would you like a free gift? I'm a missionary for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Oh, my
I
sister.
saw it in the mirror. 2 people in one.
Wait, what did he say then?
I saw it in the mirror.
Oh, okay.
2 people in one. The brown is the bridge to a new creation. God's plan is now my laboratory.
Yakub began to teach Islam in the streets of Mecca, promising luxury to attract more followers.
Believe in Allah and the angels, and you will live in paradise. My followers will be the masters of this land.
As Mr. Yakub continued to preach for converts, he told his people that he would make the others work for them. This promise came to pass. Naturally, there are always some people around who would like to have others do their work.
You cannot teach this to our people.
Arabia is the birthplace of Yakub. It is where he taught the 30% who were dissatisfied to follow him. But the rulers of Arabia would not allow him to make his people on that peninsula.
Right, let me just say this for a second, and I'll pause it on that as well, actually, so you can read that in a second. So, as you can see, the Honourable Minister Louis Farrakhan here is speaking and teaching us on this, and there is so much that you can learn about this in the Nation of Islam. If you used to type in Louis Farrakhan, Labourers of Yakub, or Louis Farrakhan, Yakub's Grafted Devil, Louis Farrakhan, a lot of people think that this is not science, and this is how people get our teachings into some kind of reverse racism, into an intention of reverse racism. It's actually not. It's actually a deep science that we go by. Now, one thing I wanted to mention here is that if you remember with what Moses and the wise man, it says in the Quran, and they found one of our servants whom we had granted mercy from us, whom we had taught knowledge from ourselves. Moses said to him, May I follow thee, that thou mayest teach me of the good thou hast been taught? He said, Thou canst not have patience with me. And how canst thou have patience in that whereof thou hast not a comprehensive knowledge? Now, it's that part. Because when you have a comprehensive knowledge, you have a comprehensive wisdom in your time among your people, you have a you have a deep advantage, because people are unaware of what you are aware of. See, you know what people know not. And so Yakub was so successful in his time because, he was able to draw in people to his teaching, because it was unheard, it was unknown. It was a teaching that it was revealed to him. I think it was the 7,000. Yeah. We're in the 16,000 year of this 25,000 calendar year cycle at this moment. But I think it was 8,000. It was in the time of between 8,000 and 9,000 years into this 25,000 calendar year cycle in which Yakub done his work. And so, during that time and in that time, it was very, very obscure to the people. And the reason why he was able to convert so many people to himself is because, again, he had a comprehensive knowledge of something. And that's just something I wanted you to think about. So let's pull it back a little bit, because I was kind of looking for something in the Quran there. Okay.
Would not allow him to make his people.
Yeah, so they were seeing that
peninsula.
Yeah. Yes, sir. So the authorities became afraid of such powerful teachings with promises of luxury and making slaves of others, as they began making arrests of those who believed the teaching. The officers would go back and find, to their surprise, others still teaching and believing it. Okay.
You cannot cage the truth.
Finally, they arrested Mr. Yakub, but it only increased the teachings. They kept persecuting and arresting Yakub's followers until they filled all of the jails.
There is no room for any new prisoners. And when we go out onto the streets, we find them still being taught. What are the teachings? And of the name of the leader? So you are Mr. Yakub?
Yes, I am.
Yakub, I have come to see if we could work out some agreement to bring about an end to this trouble. What would you suggest?
If you give me and my followers everything to start civilization as you have, and furnish us with money and other necessities of life for 20 years, I will take my followers and we will go for it.
Move! Move! Get out! Out! Now! Keep it moving!
So here's the 600. Sorry, I don't know why it's not pausing. Here's the 600 people. 59,999 of his followers, including. So Yakub was the last one to make it 60,000 people. So.
My king, why are we accommodating him? Why not lock him away forever? Because you don't know who he is. The Nation's Book, written by the 23. 23? Scientists? They wrote about Yakub before Yakub was even born. This is why we fear him. Impossible. Nothing is impossible when it is written. He will be born 20 miles outside from the holy city of Mecca. 8,409 years in the future. He will make a new man.
His name, Yakub. He will change civilization and produce a new people. A people who will rule the original nation for 6,000 years. At his birth, the world will be divided. 70% satisfied. He will discover the secret in the life germ of man. He will graft the brown germ into its last stage. And from that grafting will come a pale race with blue eyes. They will be exiled, and they will return as rulers.
Write it clearly. 59,999 will follow him.
Yakub will make 60,000.
Listen to me. You may have made an agreement with the king, but out here, you're just another prisoner.
Then why are your hands shaking?
You're not in control anymore. One wrong move, and I'll throw you into sea myself. Yakub! Mr. Yakub, come forward. Board your people.
Okay. So you can see where this is going. Getting to the point where he's on the island now. He's going to be. So let's give this last episode a go. I think this is not the last episode. I think there's other episodes. I'm pretty sure. But I've not got access to them. It's alright.
We did not gather here for comfort.
Do you feel that? Something is changing. I feel it. Like the sky is watching us. That's 59,999, and he makes 60,000.
There we go.
You will examine every one of them. Now go and bring me the first one.
We aren't just building a new world. We are making a new man. On this boat, there will be no weakness. If you can't take it, your ass is out of here.
Step forward.
He said.
Tell me, Why did you come?
Because I believe, sir.
And if hardship comes, hunger, war, storms like this,
I came to build, not to beg.
good. Unchain him. Feed him. He is one of the strong. Do not embarrass your people.
I can't do this. I want to go back. What did you say?
You look
Oh, that shark. I didn't
well
even.
fed.
I didn't expect that shark.
Yes.
I didn't expect that shark.
Sir.
My God.
How many times a day do you eat?
3.
You have 2 weeks to get down
So he's separating the wheat from the tare, I think, here in a way.
1 meal a day. You first go down to 2 meals, then work your way to 1 meal per day.
Please, I'm trying. If you can't lift, you can't build. Next.
Yakub ain't just leading us away. He's grafting us. They say he's making a new man. A man that will rule. But what if we ain't strong enough? Then we don't belong in the future. This ship is a test.
This is wrong. Throwing the weak off the ship, that ain't righteous. You call it wrong. Persecution is worse than slaughter. Back in Mecca, we didn't have people working for us. We wasn't living in luxury. But we're supposed to be better than them. Yakub is freeing us.
If you can train yourself to eat only 1 meal and learn to fast, you'll have discipline for this mission.
10-4.
We are headed to the island. We will make a new man that will rule the world for 6,000 years. What about the weak? The weak will slow the future. And anything that slows the future dies. Land.
So this is the island that they were
Stop
made
it,
on.
has to be. We've been starving. This is our last stop to eat and drink water. Use your time wisely, because once we make it to the island, it's time to get to work. When we get here, we have one mission, and that's to take this island.
Get over here. What's going on? I don't know, sir.
Figure it out, or you know what will happen.
The followers' eyes light up. The food is divided into small portions. It's not enough to fill them, just enough to survive.
Mr. Yakub,
Oh,
what
I'm
happens when we
trying
reach
to
that
fast,
island?
bro.
We
Come
will
on.
begin grafting. But this is not an overnight process. It will take time, centuries, generations, and me and you will not be here when our man is made. Today, we test their spirit. Put extra food where they can see it, and watch who betrays his own brother. What are you doing? Be quiet. Sir, he took it. Then we remove him. Who among you stole from his brother?
No one stole, sir.
Senkai Tadawai. Toche Tombal Jawudaren.
Bijam Bay Pansumi.
Wait! Please! Hey! You stole our food! It's in our stomachs now.
Do you want it?
Sorry. Oh God. Hey, listen, I want you to know, right? This is a very, very basic. This is a basic, like, and an outline of what happened, you know? So it does look a little bit like over the top. It's an AI film as well. So it's not like it's, you know, like completely accurate in a way. It is accurate to a degree. It really is. Like this did go down, but maybe just not as you like seeing it. You know, film has a real way of like putting an imprint on the brain, and we have to be careful with some of these films that are based on true stories and whatnot, because, you know, there is a real element to this. Like, you know, somebody really did have a determined idea, and, you know, somebody really did know that that determined idea would go on for 600 years or longer than his own life would be able to then benefit from, and seeing the result of his idea. So if you think of it like that, anybody that has determination for an idea that they're not even going to get to see, it's got to be a pretty determined idea, brother and sister. So we have to remember that, you know, yeah, so just that kind of, I needed to make that point, I think. Oh.
You came for food, now you'll eat dirt!
You wanted your food back. Go search the ocean.
Why doesn't every home in...
Oh, God. I hate adverts, mate. Bane of my life. Right, come on.
Listen to me. Today was not war. It was a warning. Pelan will not forgive weakness. Board the ship. Fix your mind. Because tomorrow, the mission begins.
Pelan. It begins.
See, in the Bible... Hold on. Let me see if I can find that. In the Bible, Pelan, it goes under a new name in the Bible, or another name in the Bible, which is Patmos. Patmos Bible verse. See if it comes up. Yes, okay, it says, I, John, your brother and fellow participant in the tribulation and kingdom and perseverance in Jesus, was on the island called Patmos because of the word of God and the testimony of Jesus. I was in the Spirit on the Lord's day, and I heard behind me a loud voice like the sound of a trumpet saying, write on a scroll what you see and send it to the 7 churches. Is that number 7 again? This is... I don't think this is the scripture I'm on about, to be fair. But... yeah, Patmos is basically what the island is called in the Bible. Okay, anyway. It's in the Aegean Sea.
Contained? Contained where?
Within us. In our seed. In our bloodline. Look closely. Even now, some are slightly lighter, some darker. That is just difference. It does not mean a new man can appear. Every great change begins as a small difference. Within the darker man is the potential for lighter expression.
Repressive? Hidden? How can you be sure?
Because law governs birth. When 2 parents both carry a lesser seen trait, it can surface in the child.
See? It's like, this is representing how, like, conditioning and your environment can lead to a different outcome. It can lead to how you can transmutate or transform or completely corrupt or you know, dilute or weaken or graft, see, out of something else. So, and you may have experienced that on such a very on a different level. Maybe you've been with a partner that, you know, that environment has caused you to see a side of yourself that you never even knew existed before. Or maybe you was in a job and that job brought out of you and something that you never even knew was there, you see. So that's what Yakub knew. He knew the law of cause and effect. If he could cause something, if he could bring an environment that would do such and such, then such and such environment would come out of at the other end of it. And so he was a scientist. So, okay.
Is paired deliberately. You mean you could force it? If that child is then paired deliberately, and that pattern is repeated, the trait strengthens. Over generations.
Assalamu alaikum, family. It's your brother Ben X. As you can see, I'm on the ship from 6,600 years ago. I wanted to thank everyone who has been supporting this Yakub series. This is a way that I learn. I'm not a big book reader. I learn from videos. As you guys know, I'm the content guy when it comes to clipping up clips of the minister. But this is a new way of how we can introduce the teachings to our people and to our children. Last episode cost me 10,000 credits, and being that this is a longer episode, you guys can imagine this cost me way more than 10,000 credits. I'm asking for you all's support. I'm going to put a link inside of the description where you guys can donate to help me get credits. I'm not asking you guys to pay me for the film. The film will always be free on YouTube. Click the link below or click the link inside of the description of this YouTube video to support.
Support Brother Ben, you know.
Crying for no mercy.
Ooh. Don't be giving me that. I'll start rapping again, bro.
Ain't begging for no grace.
For no grace.
Wait, Captain.
Go away the adverts, because we don't like the adverts. Alrighty. We are at the critical point of this for today, I think, which is my writings. It's what we're doing this for. So, where to begin, really? Oh, okay, so what we'll do, because obviously we didn't actually get to what he was going to create in visual, but if you can bear with me that, or if you can just bear this in mind, that this write-up is called The Labourers of Yakub. So it means that his top labourers, when he had found his security on the island and he'd set everything up and he was grafting out of the original, and what he was doing is he was marrying the lighter with the lighter, and he was killing off the darker. So when two really dark people would come, you know, he would send them to let me see. He would send them to you know how you have like a marriage office? Well, it was to the priest. It was the priest, I believe. Yeah, the preacher. Or the priest. And what he would do is he would, you know, say whether these two got his blessing to marry. Well, when two really darker ones would come to the priest, he set up such a system that, you know, from his system would only come the manifestation of his idea, you see. So they would come and say, can we marry? And the preacher would say, no, you don't get my blessing. Because he would go and mix the blood or pretend to mix the blood, and then he would basically tell them that, you know, that you don't match. And so then, but when two lighter skinned people would come and ask, can they marry? He would say, yes, we have a match. And so over time, they got lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter. It was nothing to do with less sunlight. the thing is, genetics and science, it's all in your genes. It's nothing to do with sunlight, direct sunlight. I could sit in the sun for like 4 hours, 5 hours, and I'll be brown for a while. But see, I'll go back to my original place if I'm not in the sun. See? Like, I'll go back to what I am, not to what, you know what I mean? You know, yeah, the body can adapt, no doubt about that, but it's more to do with the science of your genetics and you know, that those stronger genes and the weaker genes. And I'm not as prolific as some of those in the nation that understand this, but I do. I'm a believer, yo. I just believe, bro. And so, but my work is based on, like, you know what it is? If you could sum my work up in a nutshell, it's like this. It starts off like this. Having said that, such and such and such. My work is like it's like I'm complementing the truth. I'm like a complementary add to the truth. You know, I add things to the truth, or add things. No, that's not. I don't really like saying that. I add things to the truth. It's like I extract things from the truth that we couldn't see. So that's the best way I can explain it. So, for instance, look, the labourers of Yakub. I want to start this one off. So, and now I'm going into the writing because I want to get to it. I want to show you what I can add to this, or bring to this rather. I want to start this one off by saying that I think whether Yakub realised it or not, he was establishing the pillars or the cornerstones, you could say, of a wicked world. So fire, science, belief, and medicine have become somewhat the pillars of this world. See? Each one, so each of the pillars, so yeah, before I go on, sorry, one of his labourers was the marriage office, the preacher. Another one was the cremator, and another one was the hold on, which one is it now? Just give me a second. We are going to get to it, so it's in all these. It's just this writing is so much. The doctor, yes. Oh, the doctor, yeah. So again, the nurse, yeah. So yeah, think about these cornerstones, should we say? Remember when I said cornerstones of, you could say, a wicked world? So fire, science, belief, and medicine have somewhat become the pillars of this world, each of the pillars having a depth to it that connects to all the things that have become as a rival or holding the component or elements of opposition towards the pillars of truth, or the 5 pillars of Islam, which, like Yakub's also have a depth to each which circumstances the creation. Yes, I need to slow down sometimes when I'm writing. Even to the degree of using our pillars or corrupting them or making them appear one way when they are actually the other. Okay, so fire. So this is one of the labourers, like the cremator, or fire, or fear. See how fear and fire are the same? Or in kind of sounding the same? Fear, fire. So fire. Just so we're clear, the story of Yakub that I have mentioned prior is part of a book entitled Message to the Black Man in America by Elijah Muhammad. There's so much more about the very little of the book that I've quoted, so if there are questions, be sure to notify me or a captain in the nation or somebody who is connected, and he and she and we will help you to purchase this book, wherein you may read what comes before the part that I've highlighted, and also what comes after, which is just as important. Now, another point I want to make is also that fire is in the very design of the cover on Elijah Muhammad's book, The Fall of America, and those very same colours are present on the book Message to the Black Man in America, which I do not believe to be an accident, because the more I listen to his finest preacher and his representative, the Honourable Minister Louis Farrakhan, what I find is that everything Elijah said or did was with reason, or was with a purpose, even if at that moment it wasn't fully recognised. Now the minister says that fire, or the sun, is likened unto the truth. Okay, and that's the sun, as in the sun, our blazing sun, and then also S-O-N, is likened unto truth. And don't get that twisted, by the way. I'm not saying that Allah has had a son. I'm not saying that. But it's just the nature of this subject. Remember, we're talking about the fire, the cremator. This is the cremator element of the labourers of Yakub in modern time. In modern time. Sorry, I may have forgot to say that. But it's how all those labourers are still very much the labourers of Yakub, still in this world today. See? So fire, science, belief, and medicine is still the fundamental to this world. It's still very lodged into this system that we live in even today. See? So the minister says that fire, or the sun, is likened to the truth, because like fire, truth burns up falsehood, just like the light of the sun extinguishes darkness, which is only the absence of light. This is important and very interesting to me, because in the light of the sun, the black man, the original man, will not burn, for his makeup is such that instead of burning, he soaks up the very light of the sun, willingly or unwillingly. Whereas the made man, or the white man, he has difficulty with the sun. He burns in the sun, which I believe to be somewhat a reminder for those who give thought and to those who remember Allah, God, often. Also, I believe Prophet Muhammad's saying about the shade are also powerful yet parallel in relative importance to the sun and to the conditions created in nature that can oftentimes act as a difficulty factor. Now, I said this to say that fire was one of the things of Elijah Muhammad said, or Musa said that, sorry. Now, I said this to say that fire was one of the things of Elijah Muhammad said that Moses, or Musa, was sent to civilize the caveman, the Caucasian, after being exiled for making mischief and being a tormentor and a devil in the Holy Land with. So Moses had trouble. Yeah, so Moses was sent. So let's just keep reading, because I don't want to go on with every single thing. You know, I think there's a lot in this study, brothers. Sorry, pardon me. I've been up very early. I've been up so early, yo. And when I get to this time, sometimes, like, I have a nap. So, and I thought this before, I was like, Allah, if I don't have a nap now, I'm just going to be yawning and stuff throughout the lecture. But I've just gone for it. I've just absolutely gone for it, brothers and sisters. So, pardon me if I start getting a little tired and whatnot. So, what was it? Moses was not only used to help them, but he was used to frighten them by means to protect himself at that time. The total savage walking on all fours. As he writes that he, Moses, would sleep in a ring of fire. This is Elijah Muhammad teaching. He, Moses, would sleep in a ring of fire. So teaches the most honourable Elijah Muhammad, yeah. Now, what I've found is that in the Bible, fire quite often represents the presence of God, as when Moses encountered God at the burning bush, and later when God appeared in a pillar of fire to lead his people in the wilderness, Exodus 3:2 and 13:21, and in Acts. The tongues of fire represent the presence of God, the Holy Spirit, and also the wheels in Ezekiel are seen as a cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night, which I believe some way, shape or form hold great significance to this study. Now, fire was one of the things used in the Crusades and is used generally to get rid of anything unwanted or even anything ancient that may result in a situation that is unwanted to those that seek to control the masses and cause mischief, preventing such as mass consciousness shift, or igniting our spirits. See, igniting our spirits. Or as J. Edgar Hoover put it, preventing the rise of a black messiah. Pardon me, my stomach's going off. This involves burning, also hiding literature. So I'm talking about the Crusades here. Fire was one of the things used in the Crusades to get rid of anything. So they were they burn the library of Alexandra in the Crusades. Do you know that? So, but when I spoke about Moses having to sleep in a ring of fire, you know, this new people, obviously after Yakub had created the people that he was trying to create that would rule over the darker for a period of time, they were then sent Moses after a certain period of time. They spent the first 2,000 years, you know, in the wilderness, in the caves. That's where you get the caveman ideology from, and the caveman element of life. Like when you see in all these textbooks, you see that caveman. Well, that's referring to this new people that were in caves for 2,000 years of their existence. Spent 2,000 years on all fours, yo. They couldn't even cook their own food and everything. They couldn't even doing all them. They were doing all them. So I shouldn't be doing that. But you know what I'm saying? They couldn't even speak to one another properly. They couldn't even like their dog was the best friend. That's why they say, you know, the dog used to help them hunt, believe it or not. This new people. The white man. That's why he does savage things still today, beloved, because he's still the same savage, really. Still, you know, just a civilized savage, really. Not even civilized, to be fair. But anyway. Okay, so one of the things in the Crusades was fire was used to get rid of anything unwanted or anything ancient that may result in a situation that is unwanted to those that seek to control the masses and cause mischief and really stop their power, their rule, you know, preventing a mass consciousness shift or igniting spirits, or as J. Edgar Hoover put it, preventing the rise of a black messiah. You see, that was just as far as 50 years ago. So they were still trying to break the reality of a black person, something about kill the darker, spare the lighter. It comes into present time. People have this ick, people have this people have this problem with black people, and they don't understand where it comes from. But we're about to try and go into this. This is what hopefully I'm going to try and get across to you guys. Everything has its root, and Elijah Muhammad had the root to this. Absolutely. So this involves burning, also hiding literature and text and scripture that may produce an activation or a revelation, particularly in the original man, out of fear of a revolution or an uprising or an uproar, Genesis 49:9, or a great. And by the way, pardon me, I've not got enough time. Sorry, I really shouldn't have burped out loud there. I'm so sorry about that. Genesis 49:9 is. I've not got time to go into the scriptures, but if you do research these things, I'm pretty sure they're going to be something relative to this subject. We might have to actually put this into two episodes, you know, because judging by the way I'm going here, I'm going to be here for 70 years. It's going to take a while. It's going to take a while. Crocodile. That was just the name of the song at the beginning of this, Crocodile. And that's not an accident. Crocodile, like, anyway. Me and my little creative mind, eh? Alright. Or a great awakening of God. They didn't want that. They still don't want that, you know. So they even use this fear-mongering element through our news programs, always dampening the truth and giving us negative information or news all the time. Also, this fire element that Yakub needed. Sorry, I'm yawning again. That Yakub needed, I believe this ties in with the fiery nature of the jinn, which I believe means a people that are more easily and emotionally fired up or triggered, or as they say, are hot-headed. It also, to me, resembles how the Caucasian was driven out of the Holy Land on the burning sands. Also in the Bible it says, "For behold, a day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, ye all that do wickedly, shall be stubble, and the day that cometh that shall burn them up, saith the Lord of hosts, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch." So to sum this up, okay, Yakub was aware that fire was not only a useful element of manipulation, putting fear into us, and creating an unnatural man that could rule, but I believe subconsciously or otherwise he knew that it resembled something that naturally people are drawn to, whether that's out of inspiration or out of fear. See? Another point also is that fire is intertwined with medicine, and in Chinese culture and in traditional Chinese medicine, fire attributes are considered to be dynamism, which relates to the circus, strength, and persistence. However, it is also connected to restlessness. Hippocrates, a philosopher, I think he's that philosopher, isn't he? He said, interestingly, the diseases that fire cannot heal are incurable. The diseases that fire cannot heal are incurable. The fire element Oh, Brother Ben's doing his last day of Ramadan. Oh, it's the last day of Ramadan. I didn't even mention that. Did I mention Eid Mubarak? I hope I did. But it is the last day of Ramadan. And I've never done it before. Oh my God. I've never actually got through it. Anyway, I could do all that at the end. We've got work to do. Shut up, Jack. Come on. Let's get through this. We're just going to have a beard by the time you're at the end of it. So, the fire element provides warmth, enthusiasm, creativity. However, an excess of it can bring aggression, impatience, and impulsive behavior. Fire is associated with the planet Mars. The color of red, fire, is also associated with negative emotions of hate, and positive emotion of fire is joy. Fire is generated by rubbing together two pieces of wood, which can relate to Yakub's playing with two pieces of steel. When he told his uncle, "I'm going to make a people who will rule you," his uncle said, what will that produce except cause mischief and cause the shedding of blood? And Yakub replied, "I know what you know not." I also think that the phoenix or firebird is somehow relative, and also the fact that at the core of the earth is a great ball of fire. Along with its other counterparts, the mantle, the inner core, outer core, lower mantle, the magmas, and so forth. Fire is also related to the fire is also related to the fire of passions, relating to the heart, hence why there can be what's known as a burning sensation from an anxiousness. And it also is associated with the gut or its partner organ, the small intestine, which directly correlates to how to eat to live. The Holy Quran says, "Indeed, mankind was created anxious, when evil touches him, impatient, and when good touches him, withholding of it, except those who pray." The message here, just like the message of Islam, is more about the principalities of things. For example, the prayer means nothing unless the principle of prayer is understood. Giving with your hands is not true and good unless the heart too wants for the person to have what you are giving with your hands, which I think has great significance to the relativity to the scripture of Ephesians 6:12, where it states, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness, of this world against spiritual wickedness in high places. If you are as the earth, picture you are the earth, and you see something coming into your atmospheric wall, a big meteorite. What are you going to do? Will you turn to stone? Will you let the meteorite hit you, splitting your core, pouring the lava out of you? Or will you hurl truth at it? Hey, when you thrust your winds, your elements at the meteorite, you start turning the things, the words, the thoughts, eventually the people, into stone instead. I'm saying this as an analogy because this whole thing's all elemental. The earth is made relative to man. She bleeds, you bleed. She's alive, you're alive. So it's made with a direct correlation to man. She has got bones, you have got bones. You've got the point. Yeah, you've got the point. You got the point. Scripture says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and it says that they were once joined together. So Elijah Muhammad teaches he created himself, and then he created his woman from himself. Is it possible to say that the heavens is a great sign of God, and the earth, the creation, the expression of his infinite capacity, his incomprehensive knowledge, his landmark? The enemy puts a flag up when they get to Everest. They put a flag up when they got to the moon. But Allah, he marked his presence through the design of his creations and the pleasantness of the earth itself for man to enjoy. The Quran says, little are you grateful. So is it fair to say that creation and every creature is married to God in a special way? The ant needs a bug, the flea needs a cat, the cat needs a mouse, the mouse needs some of that cheese, the cheese that you like to eat and do love most definitely, inshallah. Those that are unaware of have been a little late to the subject. Every creature depends on a certain change in scenario for the creation to do its thing best, live out its purpose. Even in Genesis 1 to 31 has very valuable insight on a deep level. You know, a lot of things, like, I did get through quite fast there in that first, like, massive paragraph about the cremator. But what I'm doing here, beloved, is I'm not necessarily trying to point things out that relate to, like, the cremator, but I'm trying to relate the cremator into modern time, if that makes sense. So, you know, for instance, you know, we see people with lighters. You know, you ever seen somebody playing with a lighter? They're playing with that fire. And even the saying, oh, you're playing with fire. Oh, you're playing with fire. It's something to be fearful about, you know. It's like, oh, you're playing with a raging fire, mate, you know. Well, you know, it's like this world knows where it stands when it comes to fire. Like, if there's a big fire, this world, and particularly the new man on it, is like, whoa, there's a fire. Like, I remember I was on the phone to my mother the other month, and she drove past a car that was on fire, and she said she was just literally, like, in her car, like, staring at it for ages. And I was thinking, like, what's so special about the fire? A car being on fire, Mum? Just drive past it, like. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for it to explode? So there's something about fire and how the fire is a threat, but also a fascination to the devil, to the made man. Like, you see his weapons in the army. You know, you see all of his firepower. See, they call it firepower. We've got firepower. You know, all these rockets and tomahawks and atomic nuclear bombs, and they just have this fascination with fire. Can you see that? And, like, even, pardon me, try not to burp out loud now. Even with like, you know, you have on the higher deck of the ship, shall we say, you've got those making weapons and building weapons and doing all kinds of mischief with iron and making weapons and stuff like that. But look, on the lower deck, you've got people smoking weed, smoking cigarettes, smoking stuff, like using the lighter to, you know, they like the flame of the, like the flame of the weed, like the flame of the joint. You know, the cigarette, something about fire, you know what I'm saying? It's something, yo. Something to consider. But also, it's like, you know, I could probably add so much to that, like nowadays, because I've got like those 2 chapters. There's a lot in that, to be fair, because we mentioned the sun as well. Sorry, I just need to stretch. Oh God, I'm so tired. Oh, I really want to get through this. I don't want to be a lazy teacher today. So I'm fighting my nap that my body is usually used to at this time, because I work quite early in the morning. You know. You dig? So anyway. So yeah, there's probably a lot we can add to this at another time, inshallah. I can't even tell you how long it's been on this video. I'd never know how long I've been talking for. So it sometimes start feeling some type of way, because I'm like, I hope I'm not like exhausting myself and exhausting your time and stuff like that. But anyway, so obviously we learned that, you know, his main Yakub, when he was making the new man, his top labourers were, you know, the cremator, the preacher, you know, the doctor, and there was, I think I added one, but it ties all the 3 of them together. Okay, and that was the pharmaceutical company. We'll get to it, Jacko. So don't worry about it, guys. So this paragraph now, we're going to do the preacher. And so the preacher / belief, in brackets faith, and then in other brackets the waters. So this is how Yakub's made man is still influencing the world today via the preacher, belief, faith, and the waters. Okay. I would like to start this off by saying that the minister teaches that when God says the waters, it represents the thinking of the people. So when it says God moved on the face of the waters, he was upon the mind of the people. He was in their thoughts. He was a reality in mind. He was part of their everyday activity on the mental level. We've all had it when we got something on our minds. Well, imagine that something being God, and he's the something that's on your mind. Now, the baptism, again, as before, is a physical action or act that links to a spiritual act or a principle of making all things new in your understanding, washing the mind with new water or new understanding. And because the brain is covered in water, it signifies a cleansing of yours and our perspective on the Word of God and on the reality of God in all things generally. Now, I believe there is a connection between fire and water, and I think the link between the fire that Yakub needed in the cremator, which is the fear that people had cultivated in them for the enemy, combined with the spiritual waters, see, that he would have the preacher to teach actually run parallel to each other and are necessary for creating an environment where you could make a perfect slave by building the perfect display or civilization of deceptive intelligence with technology at its core. Now, during slavery and during the harshest times when the black man was seen as 3/5 of a human being, there was such things as sentinels, meaning people who acted as prefects or marksmen, or as guards, or as wardens against the slave coming to the wisdom of the waters, the wisdom of God. The books of God during the Crusades were burned, not because the slave wasn't capable of coming into high knowledge, but it was because of the secret of the universe was actually the slave himself. Oh, or rather the one who had been made a slave is the sole reason why there was and is a sentinel at the doorway to high knowledge. What I'm saying is that there was always somebody in every department that would be the physical manifestation of a bodyguard to a position, a bodyguard to a woman, a bodyguard to a profession, a bodyguard to higher wisdom, a bodyguard to weapons or that which one may use as a way or by means to defend him or herself, whatever area of the study, of the society, there was somebody to be feared or to not get in a bother with. Now, there is such thing as a spiritual sentinel, which means one who is not necessarily your open enemy, but rather one who is your enemy in the spiritual reality of things. In a secret way or a concealed way, envy comes to mind, because envy is not always something you see or recognize straight away, as opposed to a man with a club or a rifle or a judge's gavel. Now, the slave master, the judge, the police, or the religious supreme leader or speaker, hold on a minute, whoever it was, a politician, a warden, a bully, was in a place where they could push you around in the name of systematic law and in the name of equal rights, in the name of friendship, in the name of friendship. I was going to try and add something to that, but it really is self-explanatory, when really it is just outright lawlessness, or rather a lack of a more comprehensive knowledge. See, as I was telling you before, if the support for a building is weak on one corner, then the whole building must be subject to fall just because of that one pillar. And so Yakub made it so that the top labourers represented and were as the pillars to his ruthless world, and therefore he intended to make them very powerful, violent and merciless, in order to put fear in the children, through putting the fear directly into the mother and thus into the man who is the protector of a society. I believe that Yakub knew fundamentally and realistically that if somebody can capture the imagination and inspire people, whether that be by fire or by water, fear or with hope, the word or by the fist, the punishment or the mercy, then they could and can rule the people in some way, or have at least some sway over the people, and have a steward-like relationship with the people, as a shepherd has a relationship with the handling of sheep. So they dip you into physical water when you are baptized or christened, but this is just a symbol or a ritual or a representation or a likeness or a sign of something that will one day have to take place in your very minds and hearts. That thing being that we have to gain power, wherein our faith, our unity, especially in mind, used together simultaneously as their labourers use theirs together at the right time in unison, as it's called in music, can create a more prominent ricochet into the fields of our people, a ripple in the waters. Now, what they call the circumcision of the male organ, this is also a sign of a circumcision that must take place in the heart. We must learn to love God's wisdom no matter the vessel, no matter the time, in stillness or in hardship. Notice how Elijah Muhammad buried the KKK, the Ku Klux Klan, with his faith and nothing else. See how he put fear in the mafia by saying to Muhammad Ali, tell them that they have knees too. Yeah, he made their knees buckle with his faith. See? David saw Goliath as an ant and his fought. Sorry, an ant at his fought because the size of his love for God was way bigger than the size of Goliath's heftiness compared to it. The minister says that your love has to be stronger than their hate. So Yakub, in all the different shades or of positions of rulership that he made important, wanted us to be scared of the fire power. He wanted us to fear these labourers so that we would give him our water for free. See? So Yakub needed a preacher. The belief part goes hand in hand with the need for fire or a cremator, because just as fire burns the words on paper, so did and has religion and the false belief burned us, our creativity, our connection to God, our greatness on the inside. And because of this, our emotions have been set ablaze. Sorry, that is so loud. I'm gonna close my window. Stupid. Such a loud truck. Do you know what I mean? Satan and his stupid equipment. Honestly. Pardon me. But, yeah, so, did you catch that then? I hope you caught that then before the freaking Bob the Builder started to fix the outside. So, right, let me just read that bit again. So Yakub needed a preacher. See, I'm trying to help you to understand how fire and water, fear and a preacher, or fear and the waters, yeah? Fire and the waters, or fear and faith. See? I've been, welded into the society, almost hand in hand, interweaving. Can you imagine a stream of water merging in a number 8, like, elixir kind of sequence with fire, with lava? Can you imagine lava and water wrapping themselves around each other and actually finding themselves, to be able to bond as a single cord, like DNA? Can you imagine how, sort of powerful that would be in a way? Even just the thought of that. Again, I'm trying to get creative here because Yakub didn't get to me. So just think of that, and that's how Yakub's is that's how I'm helping us to see in a modern context how Yakub was going to maybe some of the things that Yakub could see at that time. He was probably seeing that the preacher and the waters and the word of God would do just as much a number on the people, as firewood and fear and, the manufacturings and, just the very arsenal that fire can produce and fire is, and just the very fact of how it, pushes you back. It stuns you. It leaves you a bit, oh, geez, there's a big fire there. Oh, it's like, oh, it's danger. And, pardon me. If it's raining, we kind of, or if there's a massive puddle, we don't look at it quite the same if there was a massive fire, do we? See how the danger's not even there? Sorry, I need to blow my nose. It's alright. Okay, where was we up to here? So Yakub needed a preacher, and the belief part goes hand in hand with the need for fire or a cremator, because just as fire burns the words on paper, so did and has religion and the false belief burned us, our creativity, our connection to God, our greatness on the inside. And because of this, our emotions have been set ablaze, and we are now a people who are looking to be given rest with the cool waters, the waters that come from truth and come from exchanging goodness for nothing. See? So now we are metaphorically believers or seeds or children in a hostile environment, yet we are fired up by the waters and are controlled by the fire. We're fired up by the waters, see that? We're fired up by the waters and we're controlled by the fire. See, I'm likening our actions or our state of mind to holding on to hot coals, see? And people say you shouldn't hold hot coals, shouldn't hold grudges. Now, if the pastors have the power to raise the dead, then they also have the power to make the people dead. If the pastor has the power to inspire people into heaven, then he also has the power to confuse them and sentence them to hell through not a service but a disservice, through deception or or manipulation instead of enlightenment and truth. Now this happens through the pastor losing sight of what's important. What's important is not that he is praised and acknowledged as such, but what's important is that the masses of the people come to life in exchange for his life, his work, his wanting to make the Father known. That's the true essence of what the preacher is supposed to be doing. So metaphorically, the preachers have the power to pull the plug. Okay, see, they have that. That's the analogy with the waters again. They have the analogy to. They have the power to pull the plug and drain the river of any water it may have. See? And to do so, they might hang somebody publicly, and then the rest of the people would become disheartened. Or they might feed somebody to crocodiles, so that the slave master, and by the way, yeah, I'll just say that in a minute. So feed somebody to crocodiles so that the slave master the slave never contemplates stepping out of line. Or as Elijah Muhammad said of Yakub, he threw them overboard, as we've seen in that video, or overboard they went. So implying a punishment, see? So to any mistake makers, yeah, that's what would happen, you'd be punished. So, which is the exact picture of slavery with the white man and the black man. If the black man got out of line, he was brutalized constantly. So because of this, the pastor's job had become, whether he knew it or not, to place the physical ahead of the spiritual, or replace the spiritual for the physical, and replace the spiritual for the physical, so that you will be great in the desire in and having the things, and at the same time be very weak and very depleted in the desire to reach and teach spiritual understanding of the Word of God. Elijah Muhammad said that 70% of what you read of Jesus is prophecy and 30% of what you read about Jesus is history. Then since that is so, one could say that the pastor's job was to change prophecy for history and history for prophecy. See, Yakub must have had, by permission of Allah, a scope on the effect of his making of the new people, that he knew what he needed to achieve it, because Allah gave it to him. He gives the message to whom he pleases. He gives the truth to whom he pleases. Now watch this. All the top labourers were fearful too. Ooh. So even, I like that. See, I've even said watch this before that as well, because I knew. All the top labourers even were subject to this belief system and to the other pillars of the system made. And you can see the nurse working parallel or alongside the others with a congruence, and with the pastor, with the nurse saying deceptive intelligence, that this is an angel child. See? Because we'll go on to the, it's really important that you study, beloved. It's important that you study, especially when you get to my stuff, beloved. Because I've really studied, beloved. I really have studied a lot. I've really read a lot, and I've really tried to equate myself with what the Master has given us as best I can, beloved. And a lot of this work is based on trying to help us to understand in modern time where we're up to, guys. And, you know, you're going to be listening to these messages, and sometimes you might think, you know, what is he talking about? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, then you need to start studying, because this is you know, this is connected to it. And you know, some of the work is not as straight out, and what's the word? It's not as stretched out as I can see it that it needs to be. But I'm putting points across here that definitely have some sort of relevance to what we've already been given. And you know, I mean, it's really a miracle that a lot of this has come through in within 10 years. To be honest, I don't think I could have worked any harder. I've really give it my all, like, to get these works in at least an order, or into at least a format that I can definitely use it, and it can be used and be of some use, you know. And so, you know, I just want to bear that in mind. That's, you know, when I'm talking about the nurse, you know, I hope that you understand, you know, based off what I've said already, because the nurse was one of the top laborers of Yakub. You see how like Donald Trump has his you know, he has his top laborers, you know. Well, you know, those top laborers, what makes them top laborers is that they have top access into all the other branches and fields of government. You know, somebody who is in charge of the FBI doesn't just control the FBI, they control other branches of what the FBI is a part of. So it may be the drug cartels, it may be also that the FBI has control over agents, the FBI has control over surveillance teams. You see how, like, when he has his top laborers, it refers to like the top of the line individuals who are helping the system and helping his world to stay in a particular fashion, to be going in a particular fashion. So, you know, when I'm saying here, you know, that all the top laborers were fearful, you know, that's adding to what I've already said about fear and fire. They were also quite uneasy in their position, even though they were a top laborer. You know, all these top laborers even were subject to the belief system and to the other pillars of that system, of the system made. You can see the nurse, look, you can see the nurse working parallel or alongside the others, other top laborers, with a congruence, and with the pastor, because in the nurse saying, well, this is an angel child, so that she would trick the mother that she may have it burned or fed to wild beasts. Because this is what happened, like when they gave birth, the nurse would take on the island of Patmos, when they were being made, the nurse was one of the top laborers of Yakub, because that was their means to getting rid of the darker, or it was their means to sparing the lighter. So when it was like a really dark child or whatever, you know, the nurse's job was to say that this was an angel child, and then she would take it in the back room, and she would trick the mother that she would have it burned. See, the cremator would come and collect it, or it would be fed to wild beasts. So what I'm saying is that's why Elijah Muhammad was able to put fear into them. See, the Ku Klux Klan, because it was already in them too. Oh yes, because just as they would put fear in us, for them, God put fear of him in them. Oh yes, that's so powerful. So when they see you acting like God, talking like God, walking like God, moving like God, you activate in them something that when you do what you do or say what you say, then all of a sudden, they start scratching where they don't itch. They start ganging on you because you keep strumming that chord of fear that every once in a while God likes to strum. It's obvious to me that the leaders today are scared of our rise. They were scared of Malcolm. They were scared of Michael Jackson. They were scared of Elijah Muhammad, and they are scared of the Honourable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Now, when Elijah Muhammad says that they had to take a certificate to the church only to be told that the two couldn't get married, if they were two real black ones, this was a philosophy that is against natural order or arrangement of nature. When you see a cat wander or a bird fly, when you see a cat wander or a bird fly, it's looking for a mate of some kind. You don't see no squirrels holding hands and going on dates with wolves, do you? See? So even by Yakub, like, breaking the very, system of black can't marry black, it was breaking the very fundamental of every bird of a feather flocks together, Do you know? See what I mean? So now I believe this system of birth control, think on that phrase, birth control. See, they call it birth control. Do you see what I mean? They call it birth control. Back then when Yakub was doing this and the nurse was doing that, that's birth control. It's controlling that birth. Like, there's another part that says, like, Yakub would jab the needle into the brain of the baby if it was a, like, dark child as well, like stab and they do that today when the baby's born. They jab it with a needle. So it's like developed into a system. You see, birth control corresponds with how at the core Yakub may have knew how important it was to make mischief with marriage, or with the woman, or with the mating element. He may have knew, and this is all this gay and lesbian stuff, this is all coming from that idea to break the original man, to break, to break the original, like, the source, to have the recessive remain dominant over the dominant. See? But that was, see, Yakub is the God of this world. See? But God, as in Allah God, the great almighty Allah, he's going to be the God of the next world. And he has come. See? See, now we've got somebody who would wipe the floor with Yakub in terms of wisdom, in terms of how to make a world, how to deal with his world as well as make his own. See? And we're talking men. We're talking man. And men are going to do this. These are men. Yakub was a man. Master Fard Muhammad is a man. But what's in his mind, comprehensive knowledge is an understatement when it comes to Master Fard Muhammad. He has more than a comprehensive knowledge. He has an infinite knowledge, an infinite wisdom. See? He may have knew or didn't know. So Yakub may have knew how important it was to make mischief with marriage, or with women, or with the mating element. He may have knew or even didn't know somehow that, as we are taught, marriage is one half of faith. See? He had to make corruption with that too. But he may have not even known that his idea was going to be so universally wicked that it was going to affect the very marriage institution, the very faith element in marriage, the very woman and mating element of things. Or at least he knew at the foundation, or one of the keystones of nation building, or should I say building his nation that would rule the original man is a society or a world that involves the disunity and the corrupting the beauty between the perfect combination that man and woman can both be together. As we see in today's society, there's dysfunction between partners, one thinking they are superior to the other, or one not truly being able to understand the other, affecting the value that the one places for the other. This fight for understanding in the relationship that men and women are having is still ongoing. See, and Brother Minister Abdul Hakim, just last week, or maybe it was the week before, he was mentioning how like marriage has gone down, like in young people. I can't remember the figures, I'm not really that good with the figures, but it's down, pardon me, it's down a very significant number, brother. Like, brothers and sisters, like, people are not getting married anymore, brothers and sisters. Like, they don't even look, young people don't even see the value in getting married anymore. So it's almost like if Master Fard Muhammad did not come, I mean, can you imagine what kind of world this would be now? Because his intervention in our affairs has caused this world to even have a little bit of light still in it. Can you imagine what this world would have been like if the Master didn't intervene? If he didn't send the Honourable Elijah Muhammad, the most Honourable Elijah Muhammad, into the world with a message from him? And there's a reason why he said that the Honourable Elijah Muhammad's mission was the hardest mission, hardest job he ever gave to a human being in the annals of history. Why? Because one man was facing the entire manifestation of Yakub's world. And mind you, he had the new man, he had the new supreme being and his wisdom in his mind. So it's not like he didn't have the juice to deal with it, but to go up from being a slave into that mind and challenging this world how he did, like the Honourable Minister Louis Farrakhan does. It's a hard job, beloved. This work is a hard job. This will take you to your knees. This will this will really test your love. This will test you will have to really tighten up your trotters. You'll have to tighten up your laces, beloved, before you do this work, because you can't afford to have loose shoes in this, man. Because if you lose a shoe, you might just find that you don't get that shoe back. If you're going barefoot, you know, it's a metaphor for, like, we can't afford to make mistakes in this thing. We can't afford to we can't afford, look, to go have a mission to get out of the atmosphere, yeah, and then give up halfway going through the atmosphere. Because, you know, we have to go through that burn. We have to go through it. Boom! We're outside into space. We're outside. We outside. See? But if you quit halfway through going through out into space, you'll just burn up, beloved. You know? It's like Thor, right? You ever seen Endgame when he makes that weapon? We've got to open that portal with our hands and just let that star hit us, and just we've got to just hold that until we make the weapon, and the truth is the only weapon that's going to serve us, you know, and then we can go kill Thanos. I hope that makes sense. Anyway, I'm trying to really explain this in a way that you can understand it, you know, giving it my all. Okay, what was I up to here? So it involves disunity, yeah. Okay, as we see in today's society, the dysfunction between partners, one thinking that's better than the other, not being able to understand the other, affecting the value that one places for the other. This fight for understanding in the relationship that men, still having today. As wise and as gutsy as Yakub seemed, I do believe that if Yakub came back and saw this world, he would be surprised just quite how catastrophic the effects of his works, or how deep his works actually have gone into the human being and into the natural way of life. If you could picture his teachings and its effect that it would have as the earth's different layers, I think Yakub knew his teachings would reach the inner core, but I think in no way did he estimate how dark the world would get as a result of his work. Yakub has successfully created a world that is 100% dissatisfied. Right. So that, I think we might call it quits there, to be fair. Because I mean, we've still got we've got a meaty episode tomorrow for sure. Yeah, we've got a meaty episode tomorrow. Yeah. But if you, obviously I've got all of these works, beloved, in like written form and stuff, like, so I have these documents, like, inshallah I have them for as long as I have them, you know, and I want to work from them, and I do work from them. So my aim is to really give these to the nation. Like, I do believe that a lot of what there is here to study is, you know, something that is universally for us all to feed from, you know, and see that there is something here, you know, there is something here, beloved. And so, pardon me and my tired self, my little had no sleep self. No, I have, but I just, sometimes I need to go to bed a bit earlier, yo. I really do. Spend too much time up at night sometimes, in comparison to what time I've got to get up, you know what I mean? So yes, I'm really happy with today's episode. I hope it's not confused you too much. I know there's a lot to take in. I'm really not going to deny that. There is a lot. Even as I'm reading it, I'm like, I really do hope they're understanding where this can relate to what it means by the labourers of Yakub. How the waters have been a labourer. How the fire has been, as it is, a labourer in a way. How, you know, the nurse, and you know, we'll go into this next time. I think the next two are the doctor, pharmaceuticals, and wealth. And then the one after that is the nurse. Hold on, sorry. The nurse, science, the vaccine, trafficking children, and life force energy. Well, that's going to be interesting, isn't it? And you can see this coming out now. You can see with all this Epstein stuff, yo. And you know, that's not even... I wrote this like a while ago, so... You know, can you imagine how much more there is to like add to this study? That the world of Yakub... You know, Elijah didn't lie to us. You know, Elijah Muhammad did not lie to us. Elijah Muhammad told us the truth. And he did so well to deliver it. Even though he was, you know, wasn't really as efficient in speech and stuff. And like, what a brother. Just what a man. What a man. I was writing some lyrics about him today. Yeah. Praise be to Allah. But listen, I'm gonna take leave of you now, because I think I'm gonna have a little bit of a nap. Maybe I won't actually. I'll probably go to the coffee shop and study some more. Because just, yeah, I want to be outside with this. It's sunny today. It's been sunny today. And I want to get some sun. And then I'll probably just absolutely go flat out at about 7 o'clock tonight after I've eaten. And it's Eid Mubarak, everyone. I hope that you've really enjoyed Ramadan this year as much as I have. You know, and I've done this, you know, I've done this all Ramadan. You know, these episodes, these little cheeky episodes, this universal messages that I believe I'm trying to get delivered over to you lot. You know, so I'm eternally grateful for Allah, to Allah. And it's such a wonderful thing to know that he has come. You know, he's here. You know, he's, as Yakub was here in that 8,400, I think it was, year or calendar year in this calendar cycle. Well, Master Fard Muhammad is here. The one who is like, between the two, he's the good shepherd, you know. Master Fard Muhammad is like the positive Yakub, if that makes sense. You know. So we have him in our midst. He is amidst his own divine community on the wheel, which is the UFO, which this world has definitely seen, definitely makes note of, definitely, you know, doesn't share what it makes note of. That part. So hopefully, you know, you find comfort in us delivering these types of messages to you, because even though you're hearing it, it may be something that, you know, your spirit knows, like, you know, maybe there is something in what this brother's teaching. Maybe there is something in what Elijah Muhammad has been saying. Maybe the truth of Jesus is really that we are living in the time of Jesus, the one that would teach the multitudes, you know. Maybe, you know, this evil world does have a root, and maybe there is somebody that can explain a little bit more. And, you know, even if you are a believer, obviously, you believe in God sending men with understanding. You believe in God sending people with guidance. You believe in God sending somebody to guide us, having fallen off the path, or off, you know, a guided path. And we can't sit here and say that the religious world is not a misguided people right now, or are a people who are not in need of guidance. That is absolutely false. Like, we need guidance today, beloved. And so when we talk about the Honourable Minister Louis Farrakhan, the Honourable Elijah Muhammad, and the master of these, Master Fard Muhammad, the great Mehdi, we're not just talking about just a man that we'd like to be right. It's a man who has come with not just the Spirit of God, but with the truth of God. In fact, come as God. It is God. When it says, your seed will go into a land, you know, that is not theirs, and they shall afflict them for 400 years. And it says, and after that time, I will come. See? I, who? I, the Lord. The Lord is coming. And it says the Lord of hosts. So it's not just the Lord, you got some hosts coming as well. You know? He has a divine community, he has an angelic community, he has messengers, he has labourers. He's got his own labourers. Like Yakub had his own labourers. Well, Master Fard Muhammad has his own labourers. You know, Jesus had disciples. It's a similar thing. You know, this Son of Man who we're looking for, he's a very powerful man, beloved. In Habakkuk, it says there was the hiding of his power. You know, we have to bear in mind what that all means, beloved. We have to bear in mind what it means for us as we seek for something, as we search our troubled spirits, our troubled hearts for an answer, for an explanation, beloved. We need an explanation. Without an explanation, we're toast. It's true, though. It's a funny expression, but it's true, we're toast. And so we should always be very, very grateful for anybody that has an explanation of things. You know? It says in the scripture, prove all things. So, but to prove all things and to get into such a state, beloved, we do have to be humble to the fact that we are a little bit lost right now. We're a little bit misguided right now. We're a little bit out of touch, should we say. You know, we're a little bit off. We're a little bit lazy. We're a little bit fearful. We're a little bit, ignorant. We're a little bit arrogant. We're a little bit worldly. In fact, we're a lot worldly. A little bit of all these things add to a lot of what we don't need. If we're a little bit of them things, then you put it all together, and that equals we're a lot of the wrong substance. Little bit of wine on the weekend, little bit of a holiday, and a little bit of that, a little bit of that, a little bit of that, and then what have you got at the end of that? You got a full cup of a little bit of loaded nonsense. Praises be to Allah. So I hope this is not too strong of a message, and I hope it's, again, not too complicated. But I thank you for being with me. I thank you for, taking part out of your day to get to this strong message. It is a strong message, beloved. It's not necessarily one that you're going to be able to wrap your head around straight away. This is why we call it a study. This is what's the beauty in study. And listen, just think about this. When Elijah Muhammad said, he says, you know what them 40 days in the desert represent? Listen to how powerful Elijah Muhammad must have been as well. He said he weren't allowed to make a convert to himself for over 40 years. So Elijah Muhammad knew that he was going to be teaching into thin air, basically. That's really powerful. He knew he was going to have to break his own kingdom. He was going to have to break what he established the first time. Can you imagine a man that knows these things, still doing them for the sake of God? Can you just imagine such a man? This study alone, just this part of the study alone is heavy weight. Can you imagine when the Honourable Elijah Muhammad said, my head pains me at night? Sometimes I feel like I'm going to have a stroke. He must have been holding heavy weights, beloved. He must have been so burdened, beloved. Why do you think he asked for a helper? Because he needed some help, beloved. And he got a great helper in Farrakhan. Praises be to Allah. So, with that point being made, we're going to end on the Quran, I think. Which is, we're on episode 30. So, and that's the narrative. No, it's not. It's the, hold on. Wait, before I get to it, what is it? The Romans. Praise be to Allah. Luqman is 31. Alright. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. I, Allah, am the best knower. The Romans are vanquished in a near land, and they, after their defeat, will gain victory. Within 9 years. Allah's is the command before and after, and on that day the believers will rejoice. In Allah's help, He helps whom He pleases, and He is the Mighty, the Merciful. It is Allah's promise. Allah does not fail in His promise, but most people know not. They know the outward of this world's life, but of the hereafter they are heedless. Do they not reflect within themselves? Allah did not create the heavens and the earth, and what is between them, but with truth, and for an appointment term, and surely most of the people are deniers of the meeting with their Lord. Have they not travelled in the earth and seen what was the end of those before them? They were stronger than these in prowess, and dug up the earth and built on it more than these have built. And their messengers came to them with clear arguments. So it was not Allah who wronged them, but they wronged themselves. See, it said there, it was not Allah who wronged them, but it says who it has a capital W for who. See, Allah's always trying to tell you and reveal himself to us. See? We need to get this in our minds to understand how we're going to beat Satan today. We have to understand it. If we don't know that Allah is a man, if we don't know that Allah, God, works through men, if we don't understand that fundamental that the Supreme Being is a man, then Satan will always be laughing at you, beloved. Satan will always know what to do. See, when I'm in these churches, beloved, I get the pastor spinning. I'm spinning him around. I'm unraveling him. And I'm not talking about unraveling him out of righteousness into stupidity. I'm unraveling him out of stupidity into clarity on what the book means and what things mean. Unraveling him from silly ways. See, you're not feeding 20,000 people with a loaf of bread. Because if that was possible, I want you to show me where you're buying that loaf of bread. So I can feed everyone on the estate. You know what I mean? It's not on about that. It's on about, with one single truth, can feed 20,000 spiritually starving, spiritually hungry people in one go. What, just one loaf, one bit of what Elijah Muhammad gave, one bit of what the Honourable Minister Louis Farrakhan is teaching, can feed so many people, can sustain so many people, beloved. We have to bear this in mind. We really have to bear this in mind, beloved. And their messengers came to them with clear arguments. So it was not Allah who wronged them, but they wronged themselves. Then evil was the end of those who did evil, because they rejected the messages of Allah and mocked at them. It's not wise to mock somebody who's a messenger from God. It's not wise to mock somebody. Just in general. Who mocks people? Who mocks people anyway? Like, I see, here's what I do understand. I understand laughing. I understand laughing at, like, the enemy's audacity, should we say. Because I do it with people that come and challenge me, yeah, and I see their motive. Allah shows me their motive. I can't help but laugh sometimes. It's not because I'm laughing at him or I'm mocking him. I'm just laughing that Allah has shown me like what they're up to, and I'm laughing because my faith is like that. I'm not making mockery of nobody. There's a difference. There's a real difference, yo. Sometimes you'll see the minister break out laughing and he's talking about his own people, because we're trifling, and sometimes we're so trifling it can get kind of funny in a way. Don't ask me why, it just is. It can just be like kind of funny, like the pastor last week that I was wrangling with, he was making me laugh, but he was looking at me as though I was laughing at him, but I weren't laughing at him. I was laughing because it's so pitiful and they're so blind. It can just make you chuckle a bit. It's not, you're not mocking them. It's not, maybe you're not getting me here. Mockery comes from a place of like ignorance, like real deep and like rotten ignorance and rotten arrogance and really deep arrogance. That's what this kind of mockery I'm talking about. that we shouldn't ever do, and nobody should be doing ever to anyone, believe it or not. This kind of mockery is based on dissatisfaction, total dissatisfaction. And we don't need any more of that. We don't need, we're mature people, we're civilized. Mature people don't act like immature people. Civilized people don't act like uncivilized people. You know what I mean? Like, this is why I think we're having such a problem with becoming new, is because we're still surrounded by so much of the old, that we're still acting like the old, we're still influenced by the old, we still feel like we need to prove something to the old. And it's like, and when I say the old, I mean the old, like the old world, the old manifestation of things. Like, you know, you don't need to be around people who are smoking weed anymore. You don't need to be around people who are getting drunk all the time and talking nonsense. Like, these people need you to be in your right mind, but they need you. They just need you, innit? And you need you. But you gotta be careful, yo, because people are gonna be choosing to do that. That's their way of, listen, well, I'll leave you to it then, but you'll know where I am, bro. I'll be on the right side of the garden. I won't be on the fence, and I certainly won't be, you know, falling in a ditch behind the garden, like, you know, making mischief of things and making a mess of myself because things have gotten hard. Like, nah, we pour on Allah and we seek refuge in Allah because He's the source of strength. He's the source of how we're gonna make it out of this pitiful condition. And so, you know, we have to really be mindful. To really be mindful, beloved. Because, you know, this world's not getting any better, is it? It's getting worse, and we have to get better as it gets worse. You know, the hour is upon us. The hour is upon us. So we need to be careful about the hour. Because that's a dreadful time, beloved. You know, we have to get disciplined now. We have to be inviters, and we have to study. We must study. That's Captain Mustafa Farrakhan, Supreme Captain Mustafa Farrakhan. That's what he said. We must study. You're trying to work a Hoover, you never read the instructions before. You put the damn Hoover down. You're going to break the thing. And you're going to break, you know, everything else around it. I don't know. You know. We have to read the instruction manuals, beloved. We have to read this stuff. We have to equate ourselves with the teachings. We have to become acquainted. See? We can't afford to not be understanding of things. We have to be patient for understanding. Perhaps Allah doesn't intend to give us a full comprehensive knowledge about something. So what? What are you going to do? Are you going to not study just because Allah doesn't give you a comprehensive knowledge of something? You're going to give up just because Allah's not giving you all the luxuries and good homes? You haven't got a good home yet? What? So you're going to give up because you're not getting things straight away? You're going to be like Moses? You're going to deny the wise man because you can't have patience with him? Have patience with yourself, man. Have patience with yourself. Before I ever did these broadcasts and was ever in a place where I felt, you know, I felt like I was able to speak to you, I had to be I know how much I've studied. Do you know how much work I have to give, to get through? I can't even make it past four pages. I've gone through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Probably about 7 documents, beloved. Oh wait, is that another one? Yeah, I need to do them as well. I've gone through about 7 like files. And then what if I was to tell you I've got over 150 files here? See what I mean? I've got myself ready. It's like I'm ready to do something. But I had to earn it, yo. I'm not just somebody that God just plucked up from nothing. I've been tested severely. I've been tried. I've had people try and kill me that I never thought would try and kill me. I've had people reject me that I never thought those people would reject me. I've had people abandon me that I never thought those people would abandon me. I've abandoned parts of myself I never thought I'd abandon. I've sacrificed gifts, talents, time, trips, parties. I've sacrificed it all. I'm that kind of brother. And I'd do it all again. Because what matters to me is the truth. And what matters to me is that we understand whom we have in our midst. Because like I said, I owe these men my life. And he needs help. And if you really are sincere, you'll do a lot. You'll do a lot to help these men. You'll look crazy and everything. You'll be mocked, scorned, and you'll be laughing, yo. You'll be thinking, alright then, sound, well, I'm still gonna keep doing this work. You can call me what you like. You can think what you like. As long as you don't take my pen off me, we won't have any problems. The pen really is the heart, you know. The heart is the greatest source of ink. You can't just pick up a pen and start writing stuff for Allah. Something's got to happen on the inside first, beloved. So we have to understand that it's a process, beloved, and so long as we're sincere, so long as we pray, so long as we struggle and sacrifice, Allah is the most forgiving, most merciful. And may we be worthy of His grace, and may He throw our sins into the sea of forgetfulness and admit us into the garden in which rivers flow. Praise be to Allah. So we're going to continue tomorrow this wonderful subject, really. It's got a lot in it. It's really quite a keystone to how we're going to be able to understand this world. Every world, everything has its origin, beloved. Everything that you're looking at out there that may be confusing you, hurting you, you know, making you think, what's going on? What's that? Where's that from? What's going on? It all has its root. And we represent the root. We represent the root, the shoot, and the fruit. You know? We can represent that knowledge all the way up. Because we've got a comprehensive knowledge in comparison to this world. And we mustn't get smug about that. We mustn't get on our high horse about that. We must study. We must become that, because if we really are like what we say we are, then some people are gonna demand it of you, brother. Some people are watching you that you may not know are watching you. That when they come out of their pride and their silly ways, they may just come to you and say, brother, I've been watching you for a while. Or sister, I've been watching you for a while, and you've been inspiring me, and you've helped me to see so many things. And I want to know more about the Nation of Islam. What does this mean? Boom. If you don't know what it means by then, or if you can't find a way to get some meaning, and it's all just a front, then the people will flog you, man. The people will say, we got a false one here, we got a masked one here, bro, sister. And they'll kill you. If these people smell it on you, they'll kill you, man. We're in that kind of era, beloved. You ain't going for nothing. Really, they're not going for nothing. Never mind the truth. They're not going for nothing. They do it themselves. But if we approach this right, beloved, and we unite, we could do something really powerful here. You know, Allah has invited us to become Him. Can you believe that? 66 trillion years human beings have been looking for Allah, and He just so happened to turn up in your lifetime, in person, and invited you to be Him. And you don't want to know more about that? No. Come on, beloved. You don't know what you're doing by doing that, by shaking something like this off. This isn't just, you know, this isn't no game, man. This is not no joke. This is a real thing. God has really come. God has really come. That wheel is really in the air. That half a mile by half a mile wheel is really above our heads. It really follows me to work every morning, and I salute it. That part. It really is there. You know, it really is capable of destroying the enemy. All of them. It's really got that juice. It's really got that power. So we have to understand now that we're men that are running out of time now. By the time, surely man is in loss, except those who believe, except those who follow the guidance. You know, be patient with yourselves, beloved. Remind yourself to remind yourself about whatever you need to remind yourself about. Remind others. A reminder benefits the believers, beloved. Reminders benefit the believers. Just like food benefits the hungry stomach. The hungry spirit. Spiritual food. This has been the universal, yo. This has been the universal, yo. Sounds like a game show, doesn't it? This has been the universal. Dun dun dun. Dun 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 dun. You know, let us be made into the Christ so that we're pleasing to Him. Let us remember Him. Let us remember the Master. Let us remember how lost we were before He found us. Come on, beloved. We got this. We got this, beloved. Praise be to Allah. I'm getting a call. I'm going to have to go. Assalamu alaikum. I love you. Peace out. I love you so much. Beloved. Bye.